China's relationship with the continent has been in focus this week as President Xi Jinping woos African leaders at a summit aimed at deepening ties. The Chinese leader has vowed to upgrade diplomatic relations and offered a range of economic perks to the continent. That is despite China's slowing growth, limiting its ability to lend. President Xi has pledged to provide Africa with $50 billion in financial support over the next 3 years and strengthen military cooperation with a region seen as key to his geopolitical ambitions. And they're covering it all for us. Bloomberg's chief North Asia correspondent, Engle, has been at the summit and joins us now. Stephen, African leaders have been receiving the red carpet treatment this week in Beijing. Why is the African continent so important to China strategically?
Oh, it is very important geopolitically and economically, as we've seen. It's been a hallmark of Xi Jinping's last essentially a decade or 11 years in office as president. He has put this as a priority. You and I discussed about it. Xi Jinping has been to Africa 5 times over that last decade. Joe Biden and Donald Trump over the past 8 years of U.S. presidency have not been to Africa at all. So Xi Jinping clearly sees a strategic move in courting Africa. And the last 3 days actually has been sort of a charm offensive. I mean, China cannot necessarily, given its struggling economy and also poor returns on past lending, they can't necessarily open up their checkbook as wide as before. But they're offering, including today, Premier Li Qiang at a business summit, the 3rd day of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, essentially offered a bunch of sweeteners to African nations, including offering duty-free access on African products into the Chinese market for at least 33 African nations, those nations who have been deemed to have developed economies. So that is a sweetener. Basically, we all know that China wants to go and invest in key strategic areas and reap the benefits of the energy and raw materials and precious metals from the likes of South Africa, but also the African nations who are faced with a record trade deficit with China of $64 billion last year. They need to have market access into China, perhaps the biggest consumer market in the world. So they're offering these sweeteners. We'll have to see, though, how it comes to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the fact that the Chinese economy has started to slow down. That's not a surprise for anyone to hear. But in the past, China's been accused of debt trapping. How has the financial support that's coming through for Africa evolving?
Yes, I think the Chinese are getting a little smarter at where and what to invest in or to extend loans to, and also expect a little more transparency on the returns on that investment. So they're going to also invest in green infrastructure. That is a hallmark as well of Xi Jinping. We all know about the excess capacity, industrial capacity in China, in particular in EVs, in batteries, in solar panels. One area that China would like to see and develop further is those export markets in Africa. But they will also have to build and extend loans to that kind of infrastructure across the continent. So you're going to see a little bit more strategic investment by the Chinese into areas that they can also see a more tangible return.